In the rugged wilderness just west of Temagami, Ontario, a family of seasoned hunters found themselves immersed in a mysterious and chilling tale that would weave its way into the fabric of their lives. Avid outdoorsmen, the family of 6 had been embarking on their annual fall moose hunting trips for over 15 years. Their remote camp, situated deep in the heart of the sprawling Canadian wilderness. The journey to their hunt camp is not an easy one. It entails a long 4-hour drive from their home, followed by a bumpy ATV ride through thick forest and rough terrain for approximately 10 kilometers, stopping every few kilometers or less to cut up fallen trees blocking the trail. Their experiences, however, were not just limited to tracking elusive moose. Over the years, strange occurrences began to unfold, and the family found themselves entangled in an unsettling mystery that would come to be associated with the elusive Bigfoot. It started 12 years ago with the discovery of massive footprints imprinted in the earth and encircling their tents upon their return from a day's hunt, or in the morning when they woke for another day of hunting. The feeling of being watched was a constant factor most days they were there. Every member of the family felt it almost every day. They were hunting in that location. The first tangible encounter came when they discovered a moose carcass was unexplainably missing from where it had been securely hung from a tree the night before. The signs were baffling. There was no trace of disturbance that a bear would leave, no telltale scent that would accompany such a visit. They wasted an entire day trying to find any sign of the missing moose to no avail. No drag marks and tracks of any kind could be found. They contacted me shortly after returning from this hunting trip some 5 or so years ago through a friend. The mystery deepened when, on another occasion and another year, they had a freshly dressed moose hoisted 6 feet off the ground, only to awaken the following morning to find one of its hind legs missing. They chalked it up to a bear, but they would have heard and/or smelt it. The camp and its tents were only 20 feet away from where the moose was dressed and hung up to cool. Another incident happened a few years ago. Peter's son had left his ATV on a remote trail about a kilometers from camp. When he returned several hours after scoping for moose, the ATV had been flipped on its side. It was a Can-Am 1000 Outlander, so it wouldn't have been easy to roll on its side. He also mentioned it wasn't blocking the trail, and he would have heard another ATV in there if one had been anywhere near the area. Such events, though disconcerting, were not isolated. The family would stumble upon freshly, partially eaten deer carcasses, with broken necks and a broken leg or two fairly close to camp. They usually find one every few years. The sounds of distant mumbling would often be heard in the night, leaving them to wonder if there were others in the vicinity. Yet they knew that the deep voices did not belong to any human they had ever encountered. The mumbling would increase when they sat near their nightly campfires, and on occasion sounded like the mumbling was coming from all around the camp. A lonesome howl, distinct from the cries of the local wolf population, would occasionally reverberate through the deep woods. About 4 years ago, 2019, they heard what can only be described as 2 huge rocks being banged together for about a half hour one night at approximately 2:30 a.m. They all felt it was coming from about 500 feet away. They described the echo resonating through the bush was pretty unnerving. It woke the entire camp up, it was so loud. The sightings, although fleeting, became increasingly frequent over the years. The silhouette of a massive figure lumbering in the distance would occasionally catch their eyes. What is described is a massive man, completely covered in dark brown hair that stands about 8 to 9 feet tall. When they said man, they are assuming because they have not caught a glimpse of its face to date. Only 3 family members have caught a glimpse of the creature. These sightings were all at first light heading out to hunt, from across swamps usually. The family continues to go into the location every year despite all the encounters, although after talking to me they are trying to document their experiences much better, but in the end, they are just there to hunt. This is just one of many reports from the Temagami area and is my focus point for research at the moment. In fact, I just returned from the area after a week of exploring. My longest trip into the area has been 3 weeks. The area is very remote and a little too quiet at night to say the least. I look forward to going back soon.